So Servamp episode 2 did the kind of normal thing that anime does, where the first episode is fully action-packed and just gets you drawn in, and then the second episode really starts to build the world. In the first episode, we learned about the Servamp, servant and vampire connection, and then in this one, they really expand on it and start talking about the 7 Servamp, which is actually now 8, which is weird since they're named after the 7 deadly sins, but then there's this 8th brother who everyone forgets about. It's going to be a weird anime. I mean, this one definitely had an interesting feeling. I enjoyed this episode, I have to say. It built the world a bit more, and some of the sub-characters, some of the background characters are becoming a lot more interesting to me. Sakuya seemed really cute as a character. He really cares about Mahiru. I really like that. And I'm wondering if after seeing this second episode, if people are still wondering, even after seeing Lily and seeing those cute moments between Sakuya and Mahiru, if people are still going to argue with me and say that this show is a bit aimed towards fujoshi. It's a bit of a fujoshi baiting show. There's nothing wrong with that. It's still very fun. The fights seem pretty cool. The characters are awesome. And yeah, the opening is incredible. I didn't listen to it properly in the last one because I was kind of rushing to get my review out. The opening is definitely aces. Old codecs are beast. I don't like Screamo too much. I don't like screaming in my music too much, but old codecs definitely make it worth it, and this is definitely a great opening. So the soundtrack to this anime in general is good. I don't think I actually mentioned that last week, and the animation definitely felt better in this episode. It was weird watching this one and thinking, wow, episode 2 is actually so much better than episode 1. Normally episode 1 they bring out their A game, and then the second episode and beyond look much less good. So I was happy to see that. Maybe it was because there was less action in this episode. There were more resources available to really touch up everything. But characters' faces, everything in the background really looked clean in this one. I really liked it. This episode also contained one of my favourite moments of this season so far. Which is when we're meeting our big bad guy, Tsubaki, the Servamp of Melancholy, who nobody remembers for some reason, which is actually a really sad power to have. I can see why he's kind of insane. But I mean, he is completely insane. And Mahiru was just so funny with him. I mean, Mahiru hears that he's got melancholy, that he's bored with life. He doesn't want to do anything. So he's like, fuck it, let's have a war. And Mahiru remembers back when he was very depressed rather than melancholy. Like, he linked the word melancholy to how he was feeling after his parents died, where he couldn't go out and enjoy everything. The world just seemed void of fun. And I mean, we've all had those kinds of moments. We've all lost people we love. We've all experienced depression at times. But Mahiru decided that this was a good point to psychoanalyze Tsubaki, this crazy-ass, all-powerful Servamp who had already kicked the shit out of Kuro at this point. He goes up and grabs this all-powerful bad guy by the collar and just starts shouting in his face. That was one of my favourite moments of this season so far. It was just so surprising to see little weak Mahiru up in this guy's face. It was brilliant. And then he just laughs right back at him. I loved the animation the whole time that they were in this little crimson world that Tsubaki had created. It was so dark. It was so cool. You could still see everything. Like, that's the problem I had with Danganronpa yesterday. When it was flooded with blue or red, you couldn't really see much or discern much. With this one, there was a strong contrast. You could still see everything for the character's features, except when it didn't want you to. When Tsubaki had that crazy, really thin and long smile, which looked creepy, I loved it. It was brilliant. So I was really happy to meet Tsubaki, and I really liked Lily and Adisuin as well. I mean, Lily is just funny as hell. They meet him first as a butterfly, and then he turns into his man form, and he's just this blonde, average-looking dude, but with long, girly hair, and just strips off continuously, and likes to show off how good-looking he is. Oh my god. It was so funny. I laughed my arse off at that character. And Adisuin, this was the point when I started to get a bit weirded out. I imagine they did this a bit slower in the manga. Because with this episode, that whole fight with Tsubaki went on, and then we went straight into the meeting with Adisuin. Mahiru ran away from him. It made it really seem like Adisuin was a complete and utter dick. But by the end of the episode, like really quickly after we first met him, we find out Asuin's true intentions. Like he talks about how, even though he definitely does see himself as the king, he is prideful as all fuck, definitely arrogant as shit. But he thinks the king should defend the lower people, and so that actually makes him a really cool character. So I don't know, he's nice. And he had that little tsundere moment when Mahiru offered him his help to be his friend. That was actually kind of cute. Like he blushed and got embarrassed and shit. That was adorable. And then right at the end, we had those cute moments between Sakuya and Mahiru, where Sakuya was, I don't know, man. It felt like they were aiming for the ship right there. It felt like they were going down a route between Sakuya and Mahiru. Sakuya giving him the present wristband and shit, really showing that he noticed him. But also, possibly showing that he remembers the vampire shit going down. Like, he asked about Kuro. He seemed really hurt when Mahiru said it was just a cat. He seemed to be trying to lead Mahiru to talk about the Servamp thing. So I'm wondering if Sakuya is a Servamp himself, if he's just a normal vampire himself. If he's a Servamp master, I don't know. It certainly seems like he remembers what went down. And if not, maybe he's about to get turned into one, because there was that dark shadow about to jump on him at the end of the episode. That's why I'm hoping he's just a Servamp master, and that's his own Servamp coming back to just drain him a little bit. That would be okay. It would be really sad if he died after they gave us that little cute moment between him and Mahiru and really showed how sweet a character and kind he is. But yeah, I enjoyed this episode more than the first. Really liked it. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode in the comment section below. If you liked this review, then wreck that like button like you mean it. Subscribe if you haven't already to see more, and I will see you guys next time.